Hi there friends, how are you? I hope you're well. I am well myself, and today we are making an angel food cake. As the title suggests, we'll be using a unique tin as well. This is an angel food cake tin, specially made because at some point you will need to separate this tin, and that is why it's loose bottomed. So at some point you will need to lift off the cake. Now, one unique thing about this cake is that you don't grease the tin, because you need it to attach to the sides, because once you've baked it you will have to invert it on a bottle before you for it to cool. It cools down facing down, because if you cool it facing up, it flops. Okay, so we are going to create so much air with the egg white, and in this recipe we actually will not use baking powder as a leavening product, because we just create air and we want the cake to be soft, spongy, so we have to make the eggs very light and fluffy. We are going to use a lot of eggs, and we are going to separate the whites from the yolk, and this is how we will do it. Hey, so I'm going to use a knife to cut through my egg, and I'm going to make sure that I don't break the yolk, because the yolk doesn't need to go into the egg white, and actually the yolk going into the egg white can sometimes hinder your cake from really rising. So I'm going to just cut through like this. I'll try and show you at a better angle. Make sure the white of the egg falls into the bowl. I intend to use this bowl to whip in, and then I use the bigger part of the shell to hold my yolk, and then I just do you see? Then I just put the yolk aside. Of course, it will have some egg white, but that's okay. Just try as much as you can to make sure that you get most of the egg white. So try when you're cutting not to damage the egg yolk, because you don't want it broken. You want it whole so you can transfer it easily. So we are going to get 12 out of this, and then we'll start mixing. Yeah, sometimes I've dropped the egg white, and I mean the yolk, and I had to really dig it out using a shell. So you have to be very careful, because shells are not always so safe. Okay, the next thing, I'm going to add the 150 grams of sugar that I had separated, and I will add that to the flour and with the salt as well. Then I'm going to beat this until it's foamy, nice and foamy, and then I add the tartar sauce and then the vanilla essence as it comes to soft peaks. And then at this stage I will gradually add my sugar. I'm speeding this video so you can't tell how slowly I was actually moving, but I was adding it gradually so that it helps whip up our egg whites until they're this stiff. As you can see, this is very stiff, and you don't want to beat it too much. You don't want to get rid of the air you've already incorporated. So one thing I learned very quickly with this cake recipe is that you don't have to add the flour in bits, because as soon as you introduce the flour, you can have lumps forming, because once the flour touches the liquid of the egg, it can form some lumps. So it's best to add the whole amount of the flour, or the flour mixture that contains sugar and salt, and just cut through the thickened egg white and scrape to the very bottom where it's lighter. The flour tends to go to the bottom also because it's heavier than the mixture, so make sure that you incorporate everything. The egg will obviously be lighter. Make sure you just incorporate by folding slowly. Be very patient with this, and just make sure you're not too rough. So we don't want to break any of the air that we formed by whipping the egg whites. Yeah, so now that it's all incorporated, we are going to transfer the mixture into our tin, and I'm going to just add it bit by bit, ensuring that I cover most of the holes, because right now it's like a cloud, yeah? So we need to add it carefully, making sure that we cover most of the air spaces.
햇살이 너무 좋았어. 그냥 모두 좋았어. 널 만나서 모든 게 다 잠에서 깨어나서 휴대폰을 먼저 보게 돼. 참 많이 변했다는가. 세상에서 제일 행복한 순간 널 만나고 매일 겪게 돼. 매일은 감사하죠 그대가 곁에 있어서.
So then we'll move it to a baking tray. This way we don't have to handle the tin when it's hot. We'll just pull out the tray. Okay, and now we're going to bake at 350 for about 40 minutes and just see how it works this time. All right, so I'm still baking other cakes in there, but it's at the same temperature, so it will be okay. So guys, our cake is done 40 minutes later, and I have to find a bottle that fits in the center hole. Remember this tin is loose bottom, so you have to be very careful when you lift it, and I'm going to invert it immediately. Yeah, you can't wait, so immediately we invert and just make sure that our cake stays on top of the bottle. It does slant a bit, which is fine because it's at the angle, it's at the slanted angle where it's most secure, because it moves, you know, the center part moves and just fits in, you know, the top of the bottle. Okay, so now we'll find a safe place for it to cool for the next hour. Hey guys, so this is the next day. We're getting ready to serve this cake, and I'll just sprinkle some powdered sugar on top like that, just to make it look nice and snowy. And then we'll serve it with cream and some berries, just like this.